Oh my goodness, the newborn scrunch, the newborn bubble, the milk breath, the tiny toes and fingers, them just sucking on your little face to try to figure out, like, where's the milk? Mommy, just give me the milk. Like, all of that was some of my favorite memories of my journey into becoming a mom. Motherhood has been by far the most beautiful journey that I have been on, but I'd be lying if I told you that it has been all sunshine and rainbows for me. This past week, my family and I celebrated my son turning a year old, and this milestone has me reflecting on the true cost that comes with becoming a mom. The Bible says in Luke chapter 14, verse 28, suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it? I truly believe that it is wise before you make any big decisions, any new investments, anything like that. It is wise to sit down and count the cost. How much will this take from me? How much will be required of me on this new journey? And motherhood comes with a true cost. It costs to be a mom. It costs to be a parent. So let's talk about it. First, I want to start this episode by saying I completely understand that not everyone is able to plan out parenthood before they just hop in it. Things happen, things don't go as you planned. You thought you might wait a little later in life, but it happens, right? And so you're like, okay, I wasn't able to plan, but I'm in it now. What will the cost be? I just want to say I am not being insensitive. I understand things happen. I'm just doing this episode for people who are planning or who are planners like me, and they might want to understand what it might take for me, what it might cost me to become a parent. This will just be a resource for you, okay? So I'm not saying one way is better than the other. This is just for my people who are planning, who are trying to decide when this makes the most sense for me. And also, let me say that you'll never be 100% ready, right? So I'm not saying, oh, you have to have all of these things before becoming a parent. I'm just saying this is what it cost me. And this is maybe what it might cost you, right? So just to kind of get your wheels turning a little bit. So the journey to becoming a mother didn't come easy for me. I thought that since I was healthy, I've never really had any major health concerns. Every time I go to the doctor, it's really just for a yearly physical. They're like, okay, everything's normal. Check, 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 check. Bye. Like I'm in and out. I've never really had any major concerns. So I thought that it would be easy for me to become a mom, right? Like my body's already, operating how it should be. So once I decide to become a parent, boom, it'll happen within the first few months. But that wasn't my story. It took almost 2 years before I got pregnant. And on this journey to becoming a mom, I started to do some research. Like I started to look at a lot of different motherhood content, just seeing how other people are parenting, the different parenting styles, how people are potty training their children, how people are introducing like shapes and numbers. I mean, I am such a planner. I plan everything down to a T. Sometimes that's to my downfall, but I like to plan everything down to a T. I was doing so much research. And I also had a niece, and I was seeing my sister become pregnant and give birth, and I was in the room. I cut the umbilical cord. Like I got to see everything. I felt like I felt like I was the most prepared. Like if someone were to slap a test in front of me, for sure I would get a 95. Okay. I was in the labor and delivery room. I cut the umbilical cord. I saw the baby come out. I did it all, right? So you couldn't tell me that I wasn't prepared to become a mom. But I was so shocked to know that my journey was so different from what I had seen and what I thought it would be. And according to Business Insider, it said that 59% of millennials underestimate the true cost of becoming a parent. They say that they did not account for unexpected expenses, unexpected health concerns, all of these different nuances that come with becoming a parent. They're just things that people don't know. They're not common knowledge. You wouldn't think that this is something that you have to account for. When we look at social media, we see all of the glitz and glam of parenthood, becoming a mom, becoming a father. We see all of the fun stuff, right? Like we see the trendy stuff and the baby just looking oh so cute. No one shows you about the sleep regressions, all of the things, okay? All of the things. You don't see that on social media. You just see the fancy, nice stuff. And then it leads to people jumping into parenthood before they are truly ready. So during this episode, I want to talk about the true cost of parenthood, but I want us to go deeper than just financials. Yes, we're going to get into financials, but when I say the true cost of becoming a parent, I'm talking about 3 different categories. We're going to talk about the mental cost, the physical cost, and the financial cost. That's what we'll end with, okay? So starting off with the mental cost of becoming a mother. This is going to be specifically for my mothers right here because we are carrying the baby. Everything is happening inside of our body. We're feeling the changes and everything that takes place with becoming a mother, with, creating a baby from scratch. That's something that we're doing on our own. And that is such a faith walk. Like, that is a true faith walk, having to rely and trust your body to do what it was designed to do, yet never done before. You're looking and you're Googling all of these things. Should this be happening at 17 weeks? Should I be feeling this? Is this normal? Like, you're up all night, sometimes stressing about the what if, like just praying and hoping, God, please allow me to have a healthy baby. God, please let me make it to term. God, please, don't allow these things to happen, and cover me and cover my womb and all of these things. Like, I was in constant prayer. And honestly, that is why I took time away from the Honest Man, because I just wanted to just submit to God in this journey. Like, it was such a sacred moment for me. I had prayed for this for so long. I wasn't willing to just share that part of myself with everyone. Like, I just wanted to hold on to that, like, just a little longer. It just meant so much to me. And I just felt like I needed to steward that season of my life so closely, right? And so I remember being up all night stressing about this thing. And honestly, I just had this like crippling like anxiety that came around me crafting a baby, me being pregnant. I remember like having bad dreams and asking friends like to pray for me. I'm like, I don't know why. I just feel like I'm not going to make it past 16 weeks. Like, I just feel like, I'm going to have, something bad is going to happen. Like, right? Like, sometimes we can feel like too much good is happening in our life. So surely the ball is going to drop, like surely something bad is going to happen. So I remember looking over my shoulder all the time. I remember going on TikTok and Instagram and seeing so many people post about miscarriages and all of these different things. I remember all of those and just having to uninstall all of these things because they were costing me my mental health. And also, while I was experiencing this, having a doctor that wasn't a woman of faith. And so before becoming pregnant, I didn't know the importance of dating a doctor, right? Just like you're dating your spouse. Hopefully, you don't just find someone in the first day, get pregnant with them, right? Like, you date them a little while. Like, is this the person that I would like to raise a family with? Like, do we mesh well? What are your values? What are your family like? All of those things. I wish I would have taken more time to date my doctor, because I didn't find out until I was already pregnant that she wasn't a woman of faith. And that, like, it made us bump heads so many times because of the things that would come out of her mouth, and it just didn't sit well with me, and it didn't align with the things that I believed in. I remember her saying, once I had finally got pregnant, I had emailed her, and because I was about to start like infertility sessions and all this stuff to try to test for infertility and everything, but I ended up getting pregnant on my own. And so I emailed her. I was so excited, like, hey, Dr. So-and-so, I just wanted to let you know that I finally, received my first positive test. I've taken like 20, like, when can I come in? And they're like, oh, we'll see you in about 9 weeks. I'm like, 9 weeks? Baby, get me in today. Like, my mind is all over the place. I need to make sure that this baby is planted in the right place. I want you to see this. I want you to do some ultrasounds. I want you to do all of the things. And so the doctor's office doesn't work that fast. They're like, nope, give it some time. There's nothing really to see yet. We wouldn't be able to hear a heartbeat. You need time to sit in it. You need time for the baby to develop a little bit more, right? And so once I waited the 9 weeks and I was finally able to come in, I still had that same excitement. Like, can you believe it? It's been such a long time coming. We're finally here. And she had such a straight face, and she's like, well, don't get your hopes up too high, because we don't know if this pregnancy is viable. We don't know if this baby has any major health conditions that would make the quality of life, just negative, right? So before we do any testing, before we hear heartbeat, before you reach 20 weeks and you're able to do these scans and stuff, I would just hold your breath. And I felt like someone had like gut punched me, like, girl, oh, ye of little faith. Like, no, that's not the God that I serve. I'm not going to believe that. Like, goodness, I'm already in my own head. Here I am. I come to the doctor and I want you to be excited. Like, I want you to say something good. And you're like, oh, hold your breath. Like, I wish I would have dated her a little bit more to find out that, one, she wasn't a woman of faith, and that maybe our values just didn't align as well as I would have liked them to. And I wish I would have known that it's not too late to change. So even if you, become pregnant and you're seeing a doctor, you can switch. I didn't know that. I thought I was stuck. No, you can switch. If things are not meshing well, it's your baby, it's your body, it's your mental health. You can make the decisions that are best for you. And I didn't know that. And so it ended up costing me my mental health. And I felt like I always was walking on eggshells. I felt like I went into every doctor's appointment like, what if this is the time that she tells me that my baby has no quality of life? What if this is the time where she tells me she cannot find a heartbeat? It was so taxing. And so what really helped me was being able to speak about this with other mothers and understand, what did you do when you were going through this? What helped you? And try to practice that. And also just really submitting time to God, like allowing him to pour into me, allowing him to speak over me, praying over my womb, allowing women of the church to pray over my womb, and to confess things, to speak things like, no, my baby will live. My baby will be healthy. I will have a healthy birth story. All of these different things. I was just speaking things, the things that I wanted to see come to pass. I was speaking those things because I knew that I had to keep my mind strong in this journey. I had a long 40 weeks ahead of me, and I did not want to be scared the entire time. So fast forwarding a little bit to childbirth. That comes with a heavy mental load, because with all the classes that I took, with seeing my sister give birth, with watching hours of YouTube videos of different birth stories. Nothing truly prepares you for what you will experience once you get behind those doors. Your journey is your own. No two stories are the exact same. Things change. And I didn't know that even if you have a healthy pregnancy, I had a fairly healthy pregnancy. Pretty much everything was by the book. I never had any major scares. I passed like all the tests. My baby passed all the tests. My doctors felt comfortable and confident that things will go, smoothly. However, once I got behind those doors, it's like the journey starts over. And I'm not sharing this to scare you, but just to prepare, right? It felt like the journey starts over, like you're starting from zero. Once I got to the hospital, I was already 6 centimeters dilated. I was contracting very nicely. All the things. I got an epidural, and my doctor's like, you know what? This baby is coming today. Let's go ahead and break your water because the baby's swimming so far up in all this amniotic fluid. Let's break your water. And I was just so eager. I was so eager to meet my baby, to see him. I asked no questions. I'm like, break the water. Let's go. I'm ready to see my baby. Now it's been a long journey. I'm just ready. Let's go. And so she broke my water. And from there, I wasn't prepared for what would happen. I didn't ask any questions. But everything happened so fast, right? Everything just completely took a turn. I saw my doctor just kind of like really focusing in on the screens, and she was joking and laughing the entire time, like before this. And I'm like, what's happening over there? And you can see your baby's heart rate on the screen. You can see it, you can hear it, you can see your contractions, all of the things. And I saw my baby's heart rate go from like 160 to like low 80s, high 70s. And in comes in so many nurses, and they're flipping me this way and flipping me that way and trying these different things. And I'm like, what's going on here? Like, what's happening? Everything has been perfect from this moment. What happened? But from them breaking my water, it shocked my baby, and his heart rate dropped. And he just wasn't responding well to there not being any amniotic fluid, which ended up resulting in me having to have a C-section to just kind of get him out, because they weren't confident that if we waited, I would be able to have a healthy baby, right? And while I can't say that my birth story was traumatic, but afterwards, it really took a toll on my mental health, because I kept replaying the what if. What if I would have asked more questions? What if I would have been confident in my body and wouldn't have allowed her to break my water when she did? What if I would have just waited to see if my body would have naturally, if my water would have naturally broke on its own? Like, I just kept replaying the what if, the how, the why. And it completely, it was crippling. It really was. And it started to spiral into postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety and postpartum rage, where I felt like I wasn't in control anymore. And so I was trying to control everything else. I'm like, no, I can't let my baby out of my sight, because, I was just so close to something bad happening. And so I thought that I can control every other thing, every other aspect of our life. And I was able to do it for maybe like a week or two. And then I was able to do it until I couldn't anymore. The weight I was carrying completely broke me down. Like, it was just terrible. I wasn't getting any sleep, because I was up all night checking my baby to make sure he was breathing, putting my hand underneath his nose, like, are you breathing? Are you okay? Just the mental weight that you carry with bringing a new baby in the house for the first time. You have a baby, they give them to you in your hands that you've been prepping for 40 to 42 weeks, sometimes, sooner or whatever. But then you're sent home after 2 to 3 days. You're sent home with this baby and they're like, good luck. And I'm like, you guys trust me with the whole human? That was just a lot to carry. It was a lot mentally, which is why a lot of women end up having postpartum depression, right? Our hormones are all out of whack, where our body is producing milk and just all of these extra things. Your body literally is responding to a human. Your body knows the difference of the baby's cry. All of that is going on. All of that is going on while you're having visitors and people coming in and out. It's a lot that goes on mentally. And looking back, I wish I would have maybe continued therapy. I was in therapy years before, but maybe I wish I would have continued therapy leading up to becoming a mom, so I can talk about these things with people and even after. So like throughout my pregnancy, through like the first couple of months of having the baby, this might be a good time to seek therapy, to seek wise counsel, because you might need someone to talk to, because postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety, postpartum rage is real, and it can rob you of your first couple of months of being a parent. When I look back, I'm like, there's so many things I wish I could have done differently. If I would have known the cost that it would have had on my mental health. It's so like I would have started to rely on my village a little bit more. I would have understood the difference between good intentions and doing things exactly how I want them to, right? Because not everyone, and this is something that I'm still trying to process. Not everyone is going to do things exactly how you want them to. I was a stickler. You need to wipe my baby's face like this. Don't wipe his face with these type of wipes. Only with these wipes. Feed him at this exact time. Change him at the 2-hour mark exactly. Even if he pees, you need to change him. Like you need to be checking. I mean, I had a checklist. Like if you were going to be holding my baby, best believe I was going to let you know how you need to do things, right? And if they didn't, I immediately associated that with disrespect, with not respecting my rules, with not understanding how to care for my baby. I wish I would have shown more grace, would have been more patient with people and understood you mean well. Yep, you're not doing things exactly how I would do it or exactly how I want them to do, but you mean well. You're not trying to harm me. You're not trying to harm my baby. You're genuinely trying to help me. So mom, take a step back. Go, even like sometimes I had to just leave the room, because if I sit in the room and I'm seeing it, my anxiety is all over the place. I'm like, I'm mentally, it's like so many things are going through my mind. Like I feel like, let me snatch my baby. I need to snatch my baby from you right now, because you're going to hurt him and I'm going to hurt you. Right. So I had to remove myself. I had to force myself. Go on a drive. Go get something to eat. Go take a bath. Go take a shower. Like go drink a glass of wine. Like everything is going to be okay. But you have to take care of yourself first. In order to have a healthy home, a healthy baby, a healthy husband, mom has to be healthy first. That's one thing that I did learn from my doctor. That's one thing that she did tell me that stuck with me. The mom's mental health determines how the house functions. Everything starts to trickle down from how well the mom is able to take care of herself. When you're in a frenzy, your house is in a frenzy, your baby's in a frenzy, your husband's walking on eggshells. And so have a system in place, have resources available. Go ahead and set up the food train, right? Tell people, okay, the first month, can we have people pitch in, send gift cards, send money, send meals, so that we can just focus on the baby. So we can just focus on each other. So I can focus on myself and I don't have to worry about what I'm going to eat. That you guys know, that already comes with a lot, right? But set up, ask for a meal train, ask for people they can take the dog to the bed, if they can take the dog to the groomers, if they can honestly keep the dog for a month so that you can get adjusted to becoming a parent. You don't need anything extra to be added to the plate. So next I want to get into the physical changes. So of course, with you becoming a mom, with you being pregnant, things are going to change. Your body is shifting. Things are going on, right? And so it affects how you feel, how you look. And so I wish I would have prepared a little bit better and maybe managed my time a little bit better so I didn't feel like I was always playing catch up. Because the first trimester, you're tired. You might not have the energy to do everything that you used to do in the order that you used to do it. So I felt like I was dropping the ball at work. I felt like I was always playing catch up. I always needed the lesson plan. I always needed to do documentation. Everything. I felt like I was always like doing things at the very last minute because I just didn't have the energy, nor did I feel comfortable with asking people. So I wish I would have asked for help, started to plan things in advance, little by little, like maybe doing 2 to 3 tasks a day. That's it. But a lot of times I would just go home and go to sleep. But I wish I would have pushed myself to maybe not 3, 1 to 2, 1 to 2 tasks a day, big or small, so that every day I was working towards something. So I didn't get to Friday and I'm like, ooh, this is due by like noon, right? My job needs me to turn this in by noon. Also, after having a child, I had a C-section and I absolutely did not plan for that. But physically, I wasn't able to do pretty much anything. I couldn't go up and down the stairs. I relied on my husband for so much. Like, I know people talked about, the 8 weeks that you are supposed to kind of like be in the bed, or 6 to 8 weeks that you should be in the bed and taking care of your body and everything. But with a C-section, and sometimes with people having vaginal births, like just depending on what happens during labor, it might be more than the 6 to 8 weeks. And I didn't consider that. What if my body isn't quite ready to get back into life as normal after the 6 to 8 weeks? I was not prepared for that. I thought that I would push out this baby like I saw my sister do, and I'll be back in the gym, and I would drop this baby weight, and I'll be back in my clothes. No, that was not my story. It took me like 5 months, after having a C-section, to be able to do things and not like feel any pain or any discomfort, like 100%. It took me about 4 to 5 months, and I was not prepared for that. I was like itching to go back to the gym. I would keep trying to do things like, let's go on a run and let's do this. And I was just trying to push my body. And every time it would tell me, girl, you're not ready. Like, I would be hurting so bad. Like, I didn't understand the weight physically that childbirth takes on your body, but it's a major event. One of the craziest things that our body can do. It is a major event. It lasts more than the 6 to 8 weeks. Lasts way longer than the 6 to 8 weeks. Your body is going through so many things. You're producing milk. Your womb, you have a womb on your uterus the size of a dinner plate. And I think that sometimes we don't give ourselves enough grace or enough time with that because it's a womb that we can't see. But if I had a womb the size of a dinner plate on my leg, on my face, on my arms, I would treat it with much more care. Like, I would be gentle when I'm putting on my pants. I'll be gentle the way I sit down and move around because I can see it. But since it's internal, it's inside of us, we don't see our uterus. We don't see all the things that's happening inside of our body. So we think that we can go about life as normal, like we don't have a womb, like we did not just experience a major event, but we have. And it deserves more grace, and it deserves more time, and we don't have to snap back. Actually, I still haven't snapped back. I actually gained weight, and it's okay. I've had to be okay with that. And it was very humbling, trying on pants again and figuring out, okay, what size do I wear? Trying on bras again, trying on shirts again, everything. I just felt like foreign in my own body. But I needed to start to give myself grace. And I needed to talk to other women and ask, how did you handle this? And honestly, this entire year of motherhood, it has made me really adore moms. When I go out and I see a mom in public with her child or her children, I'm just in such awe because I'm like, I didn't get it. I didn't understand everything that you went through. I didn't understand everything that you were balancing. I didn't know what it took to be a mom, but now I do. And you're doing it with such you're doing it in such excellence. You look so amazing. Like your children are so well mannered. You like everything. I'm just in such awe. Like how? Teach me. I've humbled myself so much. Teach me. How are you doing this? Lastly, I want to get into financial because motherhood is a huge financial decision. It's huge. And so many people do not talk about that or they just graze over it. So when it comes to becoming a parent, insurance is so important. Having a job with good benefits. It's much more than just having a job that pays you well, but also having a job with good benefits because it costs to have a child. It costs to have a child, and it's a pretty penny. Once I became pregnant and started to go to the OBGYN, you go to them like every 4 weeks, and then it goes to every other week, and then every week, and then every couple days. Like as you progress, the timeline gets shorter and shorter. Like the timeline between your visits gets shorter and shorter. And so my first appointment, they were like, okay, it's time to go ahead and set up your payment plan for, your services that you'll receive. And I'm like, my payment plan? I thought insurance was going to take care of it. Like, what do you mean payment plan? What is this? And they're like, oh yeah, you prepay, for everything that you're going to do and for your visit in the hospital for labor and delivery. It blew my mind. I was like, you prepay to have a baby, a payment plan for a baby? Who would have known? Who would have known? I paid about $400 or almost $400 every 7 months leading up to having my baby. I did not know that. I had no idea. I thought that you would just get a bill after you have a baby, but I guess every insurance company or every doctor's office is different. Their terms and conditions are different. I had no clue. So, I was thrown into that. I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. So started to do that. Once I had my baby, here I am. I'm thinking, okay, well, since I pre-played, this is great. At least I was able to see what it would cost me and I'm done. No, that does not include, if you have to get any pain medication or anything like that. So I did get an epidural. I had a C-section. If you have a boy and you want to get them circumcised, you pay for that. Every time doctors come in and they give you different treatments or different medication, they scan your wristband. And every time they scan your wristband, it's like adding money to the bill. And so after maybe a month after you give birth, I got another bill. I was like, I already prepaid. What is this bill for? I got like maybe 2 or 3 more bills after giving birth, after prepaying. So I don't think I was nowhere. Like I had no idea that was going to happen. And so like all together, I want to say maybe I paid a little over $3,000 to give birth and everything that was required and everything that my son needed. It was about $3,000. And of course, that doesn't account for everything that the insurance paid. So I didn't even look at, or I don't know how much the insurance paid, but I mean, having a baby is almost like college tuition at this point. Then after you have the baby has to get insurance. They have to get on your insurance. So it's really good to ask your job for like your benefits package so that you can see, okay, how much is it if I add the baby to my insurance? How much is it if my husband adds the baby to his insurance? Whose insurance will be better? Who has the best benefits? Like, what would that look like for our household financially? Like, how much will that decrease our paycheck by? Those are things that I didn't consider, but they're very important. Adding someone onto your health insurance, like, takes much more money out of your paycheck. And some jobs don't have the best insurance. Like, some jobs, it might cost, like, you might go from paying just $30 for yourself, and you're like, oh, my job has great insurance. But then what if you add on a dependent? Like, if you add on your child, how much will your insurance be? Sometimes it will add like an extra $200 a paycheck. That's a lot, right? That's a lot to consider. So again, making sure that you're at a job that not only is paying you well, but has good benefits, has good insurance. You might want to get your child, life insurance, or start college funding. All of that cost. And of course, that's not something that you have to do right away, like start to plan for college on day one. Like, you can do that a little later, but that's something just to consider. Okay, we might want to plan for college or any expenses that they might want at 18 or after 18. So maybe we'll put away $50 a month. Also, the most expensive, by far for us, the most expensive part of parenthood has been daycare. And it's been very humbling. We are on our second daycare right now. We had a daycare at first that was more cost effective, but I felt like, you get what you pay for. So while it was the most cost effective, I felt like I had to worry. I felt like I had to, always be on alert with what's happening to my baby. Like, is my baby okay? And my baby was constantly getting sick all the time. When you first put your baby in daycare, for my working parents, I know a lot of us would love to be stay-at-home parents, but right now the cost of living is just so high. Like, I knew it didn't make sense financially for us to drop down to a one income household. So I knew after maternity leave that I would have to go back to work, unfortunately. And so with going back to work, I had to pay to put my baby into daycare, but he got sick almost every week, every other week. It was several times a month. So I was like running through my PTO. It felt like every time I would accumulate some more time, I was like using it. Accumulate time, use it. Accumulate time, use it. It was like a never ending cycle. So that means I was constantly paying for copays to go to the doctor. It was like $30, like all of that stuff adds up. On top of the copays, medication, if they end up prescribing him something, have to pay for the medication. While it might not be expensive, those things add up when you're already paying for insurance, you're already paying for daycare, you're already paying for all of these other things, your normal bills, your mortgage, groceries, it's a big financial decision, right? So these are all of the things that I have been responsible for my baby's first year of life. But with this first daycare, things just ended up not working out for us. And so we found a better daycare that he's at now and that we absolutely love. But with switching between daycares, that was an extra $500 a month. An extra $500 a month. We pay almost $1,400 to $1,500 a month in daycare. Like almost the same cost of a mortgage. That's how much I pay for someone to watch my baby. every day while I work. Like, it's a big, big financial decision that you are stepping into when you become a parent. And these are things to consider, right? These are not things that you want to think about after, because you don't want to make this be the thing that has you living paycheck to paycheck. And so while you're in your planning season, or while you are waiting to become pregnant, just start to tour different daycares and things. One thing that I didn't know was also how long a daycare wait list is. I would call places that would fit into our budget, and I would be like, okay, hey, I'm having a baby at this month. We have to get daycare. Like, can we come and tour and be put on the wait list? So we would tour. They would tell us the price. I'm like, okay, this is great. Sign us up for January. Like, we'll be putting our baby in this daycare around January. They're like, oh, we're actually on a 1.5 wait list, 2-year wait list. How are you on a 2-year wait list when it only takes 9 to 10 months to have a baby? Had no clue that this was even happening. Like, I didn't even start to look for daycares until I was like 6 months pregnant, like 5 to 6 months pregnant. So I was way behind. Here I am. I thought I was a scholar. I thought I was like ahead of the game. No, I was behind. Who would have known? I did not know that parents were doing this. And so, which ended up meaning that we were left with less options. That's why we had to go to a daycare that, yes, it was cost effective, but it wasn't our favorite. It wasn't something that we would have picked if we would have, known in advance to put our name on these lists. The last thing that I want to mention when it comes to the financial load of becoming a parent is also understanding your deductibles, your insurance deductibles. I am not an insurance whiz. I don't even try to act like I know everything about health insurance, because I just don't. But within this first year of my baby's life, he did need to get tubes in his ears, which was a huge financial investment. And again, we think, okay, we have insurance. Insurance will pay for it. But, there's co-pays and deductibles and all of these things, just like your car insurance. So I didn't know what our healthcare deductible was. So I didn't know what we would be responsible for if our child, or if I would have a major, if I would need anything health-wise. Because again, I have lived a fairly healthy lifestyle. I've never really needed much of anything. But with these tubes and, just wanting to make sure that our baby is comfortable, is not dealing with ear infection, all these things, we ended up having to get him tubes. And we were responsible for the deductible in order to get the tube, like in order to do the surgery, which the deductible was a little over, $1,000, maybe like $1,400. But still, that is a lot when you're thinking of already paying daycare, already paying your bills, already doing all of the other medical expenses, everything. So I wish, and going forward, when I think of a next child, when it comes to saving and having things stashed away, I want to start also having, I also want to have a savings account, like for my deductible. If ever we need it, I want to have that readily available, so I don't rely on credit, so I don't have to do payment plans and be doing all of these, reoccurring payments and all of those things. While I'm like really grateful that those are options, moving forward in the future, I will account for these things, because you just never know what your baby will need. Again, the first year of daycare, they're constantly getting sick. They're exposed to so many germs. They're exposed to so many new babies and adults and all of these not diseases, but sicknesses that are coming in and out of this daycare, that it's inevitable. Your baby's going to get sick. But when I look back over the first year of motherhood, Those 3 categories, the mental load, the physical load, and the financial load, have been, for me, the truest cost of motherhood. Again, while this has been the most beautiful journey that I've been on, I would be telling a lie if I said that this has been the easiest, or that it just was second nature to me, or that I've known everything. I've gleaned so much from other mothers. So I wanted to release this episode really just as a resource for people who are planning or who are thinking about becoming mothers. Things that I didn't know that I wish I would have known, maybe things that people just don't talk about, don't share with you about becoming a parent and what the true cost of it is. So I hope that you were able to get something out of this episode that you will research and, look into as you prepare for motherhood, to become a parent. But thank you so much for sticking with me on another episode of the Honest Plan Podcast, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.